Hi, and welcome to the Changing Perspectives podcast, the show where we discuss a variety of topics, including grief, parenting, relationships, mental health, and pop culture. Join us and explore a number of changing perspectives. We're your hosts, Jenni and Josh Brennan. Hi, Jenni.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 84.
Yeah, I missed the last one.
You did. We missed you. Jacob and I talked about The Mandalorian and Easter eggs, and we just watched another episode last night, which was amazing.
Yeah, I'm just not, I like the Star Wars universe, but I am not a nerd like you guys. So there are things, like the three of you get mad when I watch it with you, because you're all like, oh my God, this amazing thing just happened. And I'm like, what?
I think I saw a meme on one of the Star Wars, yes, I'm a Star Wars nerd, one of the many Star Wars Facebook pages I follow. It talked about watching The Mandalorian is just like watching Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni like play with their Star Wars toys from 30 years ago. And there's this like picture of them, like it must have been photoshopped from a commercial from the old Kenner toy line from 30 years ago, and it photoshopped their heads over the two boys that were playing, and that's exactly what it is. So it's a great, you're enjoying it. It's a great show just in general, but it's like, it's candy for dorks like me.
You made me watch the first episode of the documentary about the recording of it, and they're all sitting around a table, and I just said, this is terrible, but I was like, wow, that is like a nerd fest table from like middle school.
Did you say about Dave Filoni? You definitely think he got stuffed?
He totally got stuffed in a trash can for sure. Yeah, but not that I condone that, but he grew up. He's like our age, right?
Yeah, a few years older, I think.
Yeah, he totally got stuffed in a trash can.
Yeah,
I'd bet all of my money, which is not a lot, but I would bet it all on that.
Speaking of money, I'm sure he has oodles of it pouring out of every orifice. So he'll whatever.
Yeah, I think he's married. He was wearing a wedding band. I'm going to look that up. All right, so that's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about. Welcome to episode 84, everybody. We are also.
So I have your phone and I don't have your
ID. I can
ID.
open it for you.
We're
live streaming, so welcome to the live audience on this beautiful Saturday morning in November. Jenni, do you know that the Fighting Irish are undefeated and second in the nation right now?
Well, on Monday,
Irish.
when this goes actually up on the podcast platforms, it probably won't be true.
Okay, so this is being recorded.
I'm not rooting for
the Eagles.
I'm not rooting for Notre Dame today.
You're rooting for BC?
Yeah, I always root for like the underdog or whatever is opposite of you. When I don't really have a
you root for who's ever opposite of me?
Yeah. It's not fun if we're both rooting for the same thing.
That's true. It's fun.
Yeah.
That's why we like that's why we like.
But who are the top four? So our youngest likes Clemson. Our oldest likes Bama. You like Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Is Georgia still? Are you all still in top four?
Georgia is like 12th.
So who's the other? Are you two? Are you guys?
Ohio State.
They're Buckeyes, right?
The Buckeyes. Yeah.
All right. So I'm a Buckeye
You're
this
rooting
weekend.
for the Buckeyes. Okay, but you're rooting for the Eagles today.
Sure.
Okay.
Buckeyes and the Eagles.
We'll see.
Actually, I am an Eagle now.
What do you mean you?
My college was bought out by BC, so technically
your alma mater
is now.
You're an Eagle.
I am an Eagle. So if I get a transcript now,
let's do it.
If I get a transcript, it comes from BC.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, this is so not what we're talking about today,
No.
but you can tell Jenni and I haven't been in the studio together in a little bit.
Okay.
Because we're just getting
all right. I don't know
distracted.
What we're talking
about. We will be talking about birth order. We teased this a few episodes ago. And this was a suggestion from Changing Perspectives superfan Cole.
We're going to get him a hat that says that.
Yeah, I know. So I've prepared for us a quiz today and some other stuff, some articles. But first, we wanted to invite everybody to sign up for the newsletter if you haven't done so already. Go to changingperspectivesonline.com. Sign up for Jenni's newsletter. She gets you get a newsletter in your inbox once a month on the 1st. And in addition to that, you get a weekly Wednesday wisdom, which is a lot of fun to read. So thank you for those, Jenni.
You're welcome.
And other exciting Changing Perspectives news, I can see that you already shared the link on the live stream. We are smack dab in the middle of a sale right now. 15% off Changing Perspectives merchandise, right, Jenni?
That's right. Hi, Art. I didn't have the comments on. I missed Art said hi.
Hey, Mr. Art. Good friend. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, 15% off merchandise right now this weekend. all kinds of good stuff for the winter. It's winter time, and the Indoorsy sweatshirt is. I love that one. And of course, you have some Christmas themed stuff up there, as well as changing perspectives. Mm-hmm. Like, bye, Jenny. I still need that.
Yeah. All right. Okay. But that's not what we're talking about either.
No.
So what are we talking about?
We are talking about the fact that if you're a pet lover, you need to give Chewy a try.
Oh, that's not what we're talking about either.
Their shipping is super fast. You guys, we've talked about Chewy before. In fact, we have a Chewy order on the way as we speak.
Because this is what happens in our house all the time. Is it okay that I do this in the middle of a live read? Last night, I said, hey, are we running low on dog food? Because when we get to a certain place with dog food in our house, we have 3 dogs.
Yes.
Someone is supposed to tell Alexa, the lady that lives on our counter. Sorry if anyone has that lady on your counter and I just activated her. Tell her that we need dog food and tell me so I could place a Chewy order. Nobody had. And I said, hey, are we running low on dog food? And he was like, yeah. I said, when do we need some? He's like, we probably don't need any until Tuesday. And then an hour later, he was like, so I don't think we have enough dog food for tomorrow.
That's not what I said.
Pretty much.
That's not. I said I didn't. There's less than I thought we had. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a full container.
But I placed the order probably at 9:00 last night on Chewy. No, maybe 8 on Chewy, and I woke up this morning at 7 and it had already shipped, so it's on its way. And if I had my actual phone, I could. It's probably going to come today, so it's super fast.
Well, we use the auto ship feature for our dog food, pet medicine, pet treats. If you need your auto ship order faster or need to delay your shipment, you can do so quickly via the mobile app, just like Jenny just said, or their website. And exclusive to Changing Perspectives fans, right now you can get 30% off your first auto ship order by clicking the link over on the Changing Perspectives Facebook page. We have a pinned link over there. We can drop in the live feed as well while we're hanging out with everybody today. Chewy.com, everybody. We love it. That's our go-to for all of our pet needs. Right, Norma Jean? I don't know if she's on the video, but she's in here with us today.
It is it is actually 40% off this weekend, and our dog sitter said not the first time that has happened with us with dog food.
Yeah,
that is a true story.
That's true. 40% off, Jenny.
Your first auto ship, and so you can set up an auto ship and then have it shipped once, and then literally go in like right away and shut off your auto ship, or bump it out like a month or 2 months or 3 months, or just shut it off. Super easy.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Check it out, everybody.
Also, not what we're talking about today.
In true changing perspectives and Jenni and Josh fashion, we're 7.5 minutes in and haven't talked about the topic yet, but that's okay.
We stink.
Okay. Birth order is what we're talking about today. We're going to kick things off by doing a quiz live on the show together.
Oh, should I open the quiz now?
Yeah, go ahead and open the quiz. And then we're going to talk about birth order theory after that. Well, we want to see where we fit on this quiz. Actually, I haven't opened up the link yet myself.
So you haven't done this quiz either?
I have not done this quiz. We're going to do it together.
It's another BuzzFeed quiz.
Yeah, BuzzFeed. When are you going to write your BuzzFeed?
I don't know.
Jenny?
What should I make it about? What kind of dog are you?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
What
I bet
kind,
there's one out there.
What kind of Christmas carol are you? What's your Christmas carol?
Yeah, yeah.
What kind of Thanksgiving side dish are you?
Yeah. All right. So let's see this.
Wait, I don't know where my quiz is.
Let's drop this in the link. It's I sent it to your Facebook message.
Yeah, but then there's no quiz when I open it.
What?
Oh, these are the questions. Oh, yeah. There's no pretty pictures. It's just a quiz.
So I'm going to drop this in the live stream before we do it. Let's see. So if you're joining us live, you can click on the link and do this quiz along with us. The name of this BuzzFeed quiz is We Can Guess Your Birth Order with 9 questions.
Okay.
So let's see.
Birth order meaning like, are you the oldest, youngest, middle in your family?
That's what we're talking about today. All right. So the first question is, would you say you are good at dealing with conflict? Here are the choices. Yes, I tend to be level-headed and diplomatic. Not really, but I tend to instigate conflict. No, mainly because I'm very sensitive. And finally, I avoid conflict at all costs.
I already don't like this quiz.
You already don't like this quiz?
Yeah, I don't know which one to answer. I think it depends.
I'm going to click the first one. I think it's the most...
Okay, I think me too.
I don't like conflict, but I can deal with it.
Okay. I'm going to go with that one too.
Depends on the situation. Sometimes I can't be level-headed, but if I have to be, I can be.
I don't think you're very sensitive. You don't avoid it at all. Costs. Wow. Okay. All right. Moving on.
Okay. Next, are you good at making...
Oh, wait, and I should say that both you and I are the oldest.
Yes.
You come from a family of 4, so you're the oldest of 4. I'm the oldest of 2. You're closer in age to your next 2 siblings.
Yep.
What are they, 1 and 2 years apart from you?
2 and 3.
Okay. And then your youngest is 8 years, and my sister is 5 years younger than me. So there's some similarities and not some similarities there, but we're both the oldest.
But I wonder too, I wanted to talk about this. I didn't really do any research on this today. I don't know if the article I pulled up for today talks about this, but coupling, like people getting together, how often are they the same in the birth order?
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You and I are first born.
I don't know. I did 0 prep for this,
Yeah.
so we could talk about that. Okay.
I think there's some sort of research project there, Jenny.
I'm sure it's already been done.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good at making snap decisions? Here are the choices. Yes, I just follow my gut instinct. No, I tend to be indecisive. I'd rather not be the one making decisions, but I can rise to meet to the occasion. Most of the time, yes.
What do you say?
Oh man, I can be indecisive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, I think I had to click that.
Yeah. We just had a conversation today over our Facebook Messenger about what people want for dinner. And as always, you're like, I don't really care. I don't.
Yeah,
You said, quote, don't care.
I did.
What are you
going with?
I'm going to go with my gut instinct.
Oh, you just follow your gut instinct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you really, though? I'm not going to... Listen, I'm not going to...
I don't think I'm indecisive. Okay.
You should drop the nicety.
I'm going to go with most of the time yes, then.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, next. Would you be a strict parent? I guess we can answer, are you a strict parent? Here are the options. Yes, absolutely. No, not at all. Only when necessary. Or I can't imagine myself being a parent.
I'm going to go with I can't imagine myself being a parent.
I don't think you can choose that.
I would say that our children would both say yes, absolutely, but I'm going to say only when necessary. I think that we're pretty lax.
That's actually what I'm going with too. Yeah. I mean, I think we front a little bit about being strict and then we just let them, like, case in point, what does Jackson have in his pocket now?
Well, a new phone because he smashed his old one for the second time.
It was an accident, but he chose a designer case.
Well, not a designer case. It was like $15, but it wasn't like the heavy duty one. It's the second time it happened, and he was due for a free upgrade exchange thing, anyways. So we did it, but now he's not allowed to pick his cases anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has to work to sort of earn the money.
But I mean,
I guess a strict parent would have been like,
nope.
It's too bad, so sad.
Yeah, you deal with the cracked phone for a while.
But it wasn't just cracked; it was the LCD screen was also he couldn't. He had like no phone,
right?
Which,
no good.
Yeah. Okay.
This day and age, not safe.
Okay.
Jilly asked a question.
Oh yeah, Cheryl, you were there. I think when it happened. I don't know if he told you, but it fell out of his pocket during the photo shoot.
He has a new phone now.
Yeah.
By the way. Jilly asked, as an only child, am I a default firstborn? We are going to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
It's not that simple. There's an only child. We're going to talk about Dr. Adler and his. He's an Austrian doctor from the 1800s.
Yeah.
Who first had the theory about birth order theory, and he talks specifically about only children. So we're going to talk.
Well, that was hard for you to say.
Stay tuned, Jilly. Okay, back to the quiz.
I lost it. Oh no.
I lost mine too. All right. Would you be a strict parent only when necessary? It's my choice. Okay, you ready?
No, I lost it.
You lost the quiz.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh boy. Now we just have to vamp for a little bit.
I might have to go back in and start it over.
Jenny pulls it up. The next question is, which of these words fits you best? And I can go through. There's a lot of words.
Okay.
Here. Are you good now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which of these words fits you best? Perfectionist, ambitious, imaginative, responsible, nonconformist, empathetic, assertive.
Ooh, I can only pick one?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go with my gut instinct.
Okay, which is?
Perfectionist.
That's you.
I'm trying. I have like 15 articles in my head that I haven't written yet, but one of them is on being a recovering perfectionist.
That's pretty good. TM, Changing Perspectives. JennyBrennan.com.
Okay.
I'm going with imaginative.
But I also would go with responsible and empathetic.
I look at nonconformist, empathetic, and imaginative. Those are my words.
You think you're a nonconformist?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For the most part.
Cole says yay.
All right.
This was Cole's idea.
This is, yeah. You'll get
2 weeks ago, he was like, you guys should do one on birth order. And we were like, okay, cool.
Okay, next question. How do you feel about being the center of attention? Okay, here are the options. I crave attention. Give it all to me. I like attention and resent when other people get it instead of me. I don't really care either way. And finally, it makes me very anxious and I avoid it.
I'm most interested in what you're going to say.
No, let's go. You go
It makes
first.
me very anxious and I avoid it.
Yeah, that's
but
totally
this whole thing, though, this like the podcast and the writing and being live feed, that's just me leaning into it. But really, I have freak out panic attacks every morning when we're going live.
Yeah, you do.
I had 75 outfit changes. They're all on the floor around me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you swore at me right before we.
Yeah. For sure. Because you were like, you look beautiful. And I was like, shut up.
I crave attention. Give it all to me. I'm a lifetime performer. Cast me as the lead in anything, and I will be happy.
Okay. Oh, Cheryl said, repeat that, please. How do you feel about being the center of attention? I crave attention. Give it all to me. Oh gosh, it keeps jumping.
I like attention and resent when other people get it instead of me. I really don't care either way, and it makes me very anxious, and I avoid it.
Okay.
All right. So you went with you're scared of attention, and I went with the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, finally, which is interesting because we're first born, but we're opposite in a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Do you find it easy to make emotional connections with other people? Here are the options. Yes, this does come easily for me. No, it can be difficult for me. I crave emotional connection but don't always get it. I go out of my way to try to connect with people.
This one's hard for me.
Yeah, I don't know what to choose either. I'm going to go with no.
Yeah, I think that's right for you.
It can be difficult for me.
I don't go out of my way to try to connect with people. Well, I don't know though. Like I always say this, if we're at a cocktail party, when are we ever at a cocktail party? If we're at a place and there's like new people and you're kind of doing the like schmoozing thing, I always wind up having some emotional conversation with someone, and I wind up being like their therapist, and I don't know. So I guess I crave that emotional connection. Like I'd rather have a real conversation with someone, even if they're a stranger, than like, hey, what do you think about the weather? I do like talking about the weather.
Yeah, but
like that surface level stuff.
Yeah.
So do I think it comes easily to me? I don't think it can be difficult. I think maybe I crave it, but don't always get it.
Okay. I would go with the first one or the third one for you. Okay, next. Which of these words is closest to what you think is your weakness? Okay, so.
Easy.
There's a lot of options here. Selfish, stubborn, jealous, arrogant, insecure, lazy, entitled, anxious.
These are very negative words.
These are negative, yeah. These are, so your weakness.
I went with insecure.
Yeah, that makes sense for you. Boy, I don't know. I can't choose between two of them. Which two do you think?
Well, I don't know if Cheryl just asked for these again. I think it was this one. I don't know if it was the last one, but we'll repeat this one.
Yeah.
Which of these words is closest to what you think is your weakness? Selfish, stubborn, jealous, arrogant, insecure, lazy, entitled, or anxious?
Are you going to choose? You're going to guess which ones? I can't just
for you. Oh, sorry.
Decide between. Yeah.
I don't think you want me to.
Go ahead. It's fine.
Stubborn.
Yep.
Arrogant.
Yeah, that's good. You know me. I think I'm going with arrogant.
I think you should.
All right. Next one. How much alone time do you like to have generally? Okay, here are the options. A lot. I generally prefer solitary activities. A good amount, but I tend to have too many responsibilities to get as much as I'd like. It's okay here and there, but I prefer being with other people. And finally, I hate being alone.
I love being alone.
Yeah, me too.
So for me, it's somewhere between the first two, the a lot. I generally prefer solitary activities, or the a good amount.
Yeah.
But I tend to have too many responsibilities to get, no, a lot. I generally prefer solitary activities. But so I'm going to click that one. But to sort of further define it, I guess, that's, I think, actually how I refuel myself. So I always talk about in therapy with clients, I always describe us as cars, not you and you, like people.
Yeah, people.
It's very crude, but you need to put gas in your car and get oil changes and stuff like that, and you need to sort of refill your tank. Your screen just flashed. I didn't know what was happening. Oh. I refill my tank by alone time. Like that's what refuels me.
Makes sense. A
lot of people refuel their tank by socializing with others. So I enjoy socializing, but it sort of depletes my tank. So there's, as our niece will say, it's too people-y. Like sometimes when my life feels too people-y, I need to be alone. Like this week was hard for me. And there were a few times where like, you were like, hey, what are you doing? I'll come sit with you. And I was like, I don't really want you to. I was going to watch The Bachelorette by myself.
Yeah.
But then you did, and it was fine. But like, that's my instinct, is to sort of be alone to sort of refuel. So
makes sense.
A little more than these sort of short answers.
Right. So I went with the second one as well.
Cole, you're the same on that? I didn't know that. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
What'd you go with?
The second one, a good amount. Yeah, but I have too many responsibilities to get as much as I'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, lately I just want to sit in front of the TV by myself and play Call of Duty for hours.
Because you're a 13-year-old boy.
Maybe grab the guitar for a little bit too.
Yeah.
But okay, next. Which of these words best matches your personality? Here are the options. Uptight.
These are not positive words. Oh, there's one.
Uptight, nurturing, rebellious, self-absorbed, needy, competitive, grounded, self-motivated.
Hey.
These are rough.
I'm a lot of these. I feel like I am.
Choose one though.
I am uptight. I am nurturing. I am needy. I don't think I'm competitive, but I'm also self-motivated and can be grounded.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I know what I'm going with.
I guess I'm going to have to go with nurturing.
Nurturing? Okay.
It's what I do.
Yeah. That makes sense. I'm going with competitive.
Huh. Okay. Huh.
Wow.
Was yours wrong?
Yes.
Mine was wrong too.
So wrong. Okay. Everybody, that was the 9 questions. If you haven't, if you're live with us,
you can
click on the link in the feed. We will be dropping this link in the show notes for those listening to the podcast episode. Yeah, so it's 9 questions, and my response is what? What did you get?
Lisa Simpson.
So did I.
Middle child. I'm going back in and changing my answers to see if I can get oldest.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got middle child, and it doesn't say what. Usually, sometimes these BuzzFeed quizzes have like a little explanation of why you got maybe those answers or a description, but it doesn't. Just says middle child, and it has a picture of Lisa Simpson, which is funny. Yeah. So that's wrong, BuzzFeed. You don't. I'm telling you.
Mine's going to be better than this.
You're not real, man.
Okay. And I'm going to change this one to self-motivated.
This is good radio.
Nope, I still got middle child. I don't know. Did anyone get the correct one? That will be interesting to note. All right, so tell us about birth order. Because it is... I heard music. Was that coming from your computer?
No, not music at all.
Oh, it was music.
Nope.
Okay. What just happened?
What do you mean what just happened?
I don't know. You're being weird. We're on a live feed with video. Why do you just tell me to...
No, I said let's keep going.
Okay. All right.
We're recording this.
Okay.
This is a podcast.
How do you know what you got? If you scroll down, it'll say what you got. And I'm assuming it'll be one of the Simpson characters.
Yeah. You have to do the quiz from the link.
I got...
You can't
it sort of looks like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what mine looks like.
Is that coming from your computer?
No, it's outside.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Are you ready to move on?
I am.
So you're not the middle child. Not even a little bit.
Did Josh just say you're not real?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even hear you. we do quote Creed a lot. Creed in this house a lot.
I'm wearing my Dunder Mifflin shirt today too on the live show. Okay, so birth order theory. Let's switch gears and talk about Alfred Adler. He was a doctor born in Austria in 1870. Do you know who a colleague of his was?
Who, Josh?
Freud.
I know.
You should answer. I knew you knew.
Well, it's a whole it's a whole branch of psychological theory.
Well, unlike give us. I'm going to put you right on the spot.
I hate when you do this.
Give us a quick 10-second elevator description of Freud's theory.
Psychodynamic theory. So basically, everything about your character, your personality, your decisions, how you move through life can be tied to early childhood experiences, and how you basically interacted with or were cared for by your caregivers. It's an older theory of the field of psychology, but still one that is sort of practiced today. I do a lot of psychoanalytic theory work. I'm not a psychoanalytic therapist, so I don't just do that because it's not a sort of postmodern theory, but there is a lot of truth to it, I think.
So Adler believed in environmental conditions affecting personality. How is that different than Freud?
Because Freud was more so based on sort of your id, your ego, your superego, sort of that internal processing that was developed based on sort of your specifically your interactions with caregivers.
Internal stuff.
Well, that was based on your interactions with caregivers, essentially.
So Adler believed that specifically,
like the Oedipus complex, like all of that, like oral fixation, all of that stuff is sort of Freudian.
So Adler believed specifically that family environment affects personality, thoughts, and behavior, and that birth order and the number of siblings affects a child's potential. So that's the Adlerian theory is what it's called, which is the birth order theory. He called upon the importance of understanding the family constellation. It is a common fallacy to imagine that children of the same family are formed in the same environment. What is family constellation? Is that what that means?
Yeah, like your family, like your sort of makeup of caregivers and siblings.
Okay. So that combination of whatever it is, mother, father, two mothers, whatever that is.
Yep.
Birth order theory does not state that children are born with these characteristics ingrained, rather than they are the product of the family environment during the formative years. So that is kind of that's where it's kind of differs from Freud, where Freud, it's the id and the ego, or that's internal.
Well, and sort of like the conscious and the subconscious mind, the sort of the unconscious mind, that you can't really change that you're sort of really motivated by sort of like your sexual connection, like that you're sort of a biological being.
Right.
And Adler and a lot of the sort of theorists that came after Freud, like Jung and everyone else that came, more recently, really believed in sort of a more holistic view. Like that's just sort of one component. But there's really a lot of other components that explain things.
Yeah. So Adler talks about there being basically 4 categories. So firstborn, middle, last, and only child. So there you go, Julie. It is actually a separate category. So I'm going to go through these characteristics. And I'm getting a lot of this information based off this BetterHelp.com article, actually. It's called Birth Order Theory, Insights into Your Personality. While I'm scrolling to that section, Jenny, talk to me academically a little bit about birth order with regards to like psychotherapy. Like, did you talk about birth order in your training, and does it factor into some of the theories at all?
I don't I mean, we must have talked about it when we studied Adler. I don't remember specifically talking about it, although I guess in my like advanced training in marriage and family therapy, we did probably more. What was the second part of your question?
How much does it inform current like theory or practice?
Well, it's part of someone's experiences, right? And so I think it does for a lot of people come into play, right? Like that's kind of how you learn to socialize with others, is with your siblings.
Right.
Or, it can be, are you in preschool or play groups, or are you playing with kind of other neighborhood kids? But your early experiences with other children can kind of what shape your sort of personality around, like, how do you manage conflict? Do you sort of stand up for yourself? Do you like to be the center of attention? Do you not? Were you really parentified as a child, which is often what the oldest child is? They sort of take on responsibilities earlier than others. I'm gonna have to shut this window because someone is sawing.
What, I just want to be clear. You thought that was music a little while ago.
Oh, is that what that noise was earlier? Oh, it sounded like music. Oh, okay.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I don't know. Sawing music?
Yoko Ono music? Kind of like Yoko singing.
What was I saying? So it can play a part. It's a component.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's go through these characteristics from each of these categories. He was born in Vienna, just like Mozart, Dr. Alfred Adler. Okay, so first, middle, last, and only. So let's go through the characteristics that Adler listed for the firstborn. Firstborns are natural leaders. They're high achievers.
Because they have to be, right? They have to be, and I would say that this is more so true of not an only child, although sometimes those characteristics can be the same, but they're leaders because they have to be, because they, so often take on sort of a helping or caring role, like getting the diapers for their sibling or watching their sibling for a few minutes, while mom or dad like runs to the bathroom or something like that. So they kind of
learn. Is that
you
think?
Yeah.
I know the answer, but we're doing a podcast. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was babysitting my sister, really super young.
You were parentified. Like at 4.
No,
when was she born? When you were 5?
I was 5. But then I started babysitting for other kids when I was 10. Out in the neighborhood. So,
do you think that's because of your experiences as the oldest child? Like you're just more naturally ready
I think so.
to babysit?
Yeah, and interested in it.
Yeah.
And
high achiever.
Yep.
That's me too. Organized. That's not me.
And so far, this is true for our oldest as well.
Yes, I was thinking of him
not
as
the
well.
organized part.
Not the organized part. That's where he gets from me.
He is really organized right now in high school with his schoolwork, though.
He is. Yeah.
His
room, you wouldn't think though. So based on his room, on time. That's not me. Jackson's
that is
on
our
time,
oldest.
Yeah, you are on time.
Mm-hmm.
Know it all. That's me.
That is you. I think that can also be our oldest.
Speaking
and me
of The
sometimes.
Office. Oh yeah, no, that is. Yeah, that's totally him. Speaking of The Office, you know that Oscar must be the oldest. Remember how they had that whole episode where they talked about Oscar saying, "Actually."
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh,
because he's a know-it-all. Bossy, responsible, adult pleaser.
Yeah, what's that
like
face?
Authority.
Yeah, like you want, because often if you're the oldest, you've got other siblings. And so you learn at some point that you want attention from your caregivers.
Yes.
And a way to do that and a way that feels good is to, do something that is pleasing
This
and
last
positive.
one is you to a T. Obeys the rules.
And also,
Yeah.
so another article that I have in my head is the other day when the phone broke. It was like a bad day for me.
Yeah.
Like the lowest day I've had in a long time. And so I was sitting on the couch and he came home with you.
Yes.
From his physical therapy, and he like walked out into the living room. He's like, "Mom, I have to tell you something." And you from the kitchen were like, "You're really doing this right now?" And I was like, "What?" And you were like, "I don't think you should do this. Mom's not in a great mood today." And he was like, "But I can't keep a secret from Mom. I can't lie to her." And he was so pained to think about not telling me that his phone was smashed. And so he told me, and it was all okay. But that's like the rule follower in him, right? Like,
right.
He broke his phone. He's supposed to tell us. And he's not supposed to keep secrets. So, really quite sweet.
Yeah, the next one, let me see. Let's see.
Oh, Jackson just told us to please look at our phones.
I just Facebook messaged him because we're going to lose the audio.
Oh.
Or you could actually do it on that phone, couldn't you?
I
text him.
I don't know.
Real time
parenting here.
Trying to get in touch with us.
I'm gonna guess he wants to ask something.
Yeah. Where are we at?
That's good problem solving.
What?
That he figured out to ask on our little feed here.
We get credit for him as a watcher. Did you text him?
I did, yeah.
Okay. All right, so next is the middle child. And I'm not the middle child. You don't have a middle child.
We don't have a middle child. And we don't have a middle
child.
Right.
And you didn't grow up with a middle child. I had 2. I come from a family of 4 kids. And I had 2. So I'm going to be comparing this to them. Okay, the characteristics of a middle child. Flexible, easygoing, So far, that is absolutely my two middle children siblings. What else? Social. Yeah, I would say that for one of them, not for the other. Peacemakers.
Well, because they have to be, right? The middle child, like they've got an older sibling, a younger sibling, at least one. And so they're socialized all the time. They probably don't really like being alone that much.
What else? Yeah, the next one was Peacemaker. Did you just talk about that? No, you didn't. Peacemaker. Mm-mm. I would say that's absolutely my brother. He's not watching or listening to that. He might be listening, but I would say that is my brother to a T. Peacemaker. Let's see. I keep navigating away. I'm sorry. Okay, independent. Secretive. That's interesting. Why do you think secretive, Jenny?
Well, I think middle children probably don't get a lot of privacy. Okay. Or kind of aloneness, and they're kind of in the middle a lot. So they learn to sort of guard things and keep them to themselves.
I think that makes sense.
Like their older sibling might tattle on them. Their younger sibling might also tattle on them.
May feel like life is unfair.
Sure. I feel like being in the middle would be a hard place to be.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking of
Jan Brady. She's a middle girl, right? Yeah. Like that Marsha. Like just like you're never good enough. You don't get all the attention the oldest does.
Yeah, like you're
not the baby.
A lot of the time the oldest is like doing things first, like high school first or graduating first, right? And then the youngest might be like need the most help or attention just because the nature of development. Mm-hmm. And so they could be like left on an island by themselves.
Yeah.
Strong negotiator.
Sure. They're like in the middle of it all.
Yeah. And then finally generous.
Maybe because they have to be?
I don't really know too many middle children besides my two siblings and then our niece and nephew.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about them as the
but
twins.
That's another dynamic because they're twins.
They're twins, and it's a boy-girl. Yeah. And for the boy, he's the only boy in the family.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode, I feel like.
Yeah, well, I think Cole would agree. We could do a whole episode on the twins. Yeah. Twins is an interesting kind of concept. Yeah.
All right, so that's the middle child. So we have two more. So the youngest or the last born. Here are the characteristics. Risk taker.
Yep.
You think so? Yeah, I agree. Ours, yeah, for sure. Outgoing. I don't know about that. And the couple of youngest I'm thinking of, like your sister and Jacob, I don't know if they're outgoing. I don't know about that. Creative, for sure. Yep. Self-centered.
Well, they're the baby.
Yeah.
They're the baby. And so like they've been the baby and the last, and they've gotten a lot of attention. So they're used to it.
Like, not purposefully
self-centered.
I'm
probably shouting today.
No, you're good. I'm looking at the levels. Okay. You're okay. Financially irresponsible. I thought it said responsible. Financially irresponsible.
Sure.
I don't think ours is, though, Jacob. I feel like he's pretty good with his money.
Actually, I think that's switched.
Yeah.
For them.
Sure.
Yeah, he likes to save his money.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Competitive. I would say so.
Yep.
Bored easily.
I guess that makes sense, right? So they always have had like older siblings to sort of keep them occupied, play with them,
right?
Be interested, and so they've never had to sort of do that themselves, right? Like a lot of oldest children have had some sort of time where they had to play by themselves and sort of make their own entertainment.
Or
all the kids that came after didn't.
Or they have someone attending to them regularly, right? And like normally.
Right.
Likes to be pampered.
I mean, who doesn't?
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, who doesn't? And finally, sense of humor. Jacob's the funniest person I know.
Huh. I wonder how many professional comedians are the youngest.
That's another research article. Interesting. All right. So if you are listening to that and you're one of those first three and you agree, let us know. You can drop a note or a comment on the live feed or drop a note to us on our Facebook page if you're listening to this on the podcast. Finally, the only child. Here you go, Jilly. What are the characteristics of an only child? First is close to parents. 100%.
I also would add that there are some family situations where there is like a cluster of kids, and then there's a delay in time, and then there's another child. Sometimes I think that younger child can be both, have characteristics of being both the baby and also the only child, especially if there's a period of time where like all of the other kids are out of the house as adults. You know, maybe all of the other kids are already in high school, or they're in college, or they've moved out. There's that period of time of kind of not growing up with that sibling group.
Right.
So sometimes there's overlap there.
Next is self-control, like having self-control. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Leader. So there's the next two are leader and mature. I would definitely say mature piece. And leader, that's where it starts to connect to the firstborn, right? Dependable. What do you think about that?
Sure. I mean, I would think that they're pretty, again, this is kind of where it crosses over into being similar to the oldest, but also their primary kind of socialization people are their parents or parent.
Demanding.
They've never had to really share attention.
Right. Unforgiving.
Well, they've never really had, the experience of fighting with siblings and having to forgive, right? Like that conflict. Sibling groups can be pretty conflicted, right?
Right. Let's see. Private. And finally, sensitive. I would say, those make sense to me.
I mean, all of these make sense. They're not like a hard and fast rule, right? They're just one of those components that can kind of help to explain maybe why you move through the world the way you do and why you look at the world the way you do. Right. And some of that can be changeable, right?
Exactly.
If you want to change it.
And I guess the crux of the whole birth order theory, according to Adler, is that these traits are not necessarily present when a child is born into a family. They like for example, given this article, the first child is not born with particular personality traits ingrained in his or her psyche, like the ones we just like. You weren't born as a rule obeyer, right? According to Adler theory, you might have been. But
yeah, I mean, when we get to like the nature versus nurture, I tend to sort of side on the. I come down on the side. No,
really?
Both. Yeah, that like maybe some older born children are naturally kind of genetically predisposed to be more inclined to be rule followers, and then they're born into the role of being the oldest, and it's sort of like poof, that works great. Kind of like like whether or not you wind up having alcohol addiction problems. I think that there's a genetic link there, right? Genetic nature and nurture. And it's almost like if that sort of gets triggered, if that sort of biological predisposition gets triggered by something in the environment, then like, boom, you're really kind of in trouble there. So I think it's both.
Okay. So his theory basically illustrates that the family environments and dynamics play a role in shaping the personality during the formative years, like we've already talked about. The article goes on to talk about there are other influences shaping personalities. Most researchers believe that the common factors are biological, so kind of like we just talked about, social, beyond the family, so social circle.
That is a hard word for you.
Yeah, it is. Cultural, so a child growing up within a cultural construct.
Right, like if you're growing up in like a Haitian Creole family versus like a Irish Catholic, and you're the oldest,
right?
There's probably going to be some differences there.
Yeah, absolutely. Physical environment, so your surroundings often can impact the development of personality.
Sure, if you grow up having to like share, so you know how you were watching The Real Housewives of OC with me.
I don't know what you're talking
about. The
other
day. One of them. Fake news. No, it's real news. She and her boyfriend live together with 6 children, and they have 6 children in 2 bedrooms. Like wealthy. They live in, I don't know, the Orange County. Yeah. I don't know.
Rich town.
Yeah. That's probably going to be a pretty different experience for those 6 children that live in 2 bedrooms versus like the other woman who has maybe 17 kids and they all have their own big giant rooms. Like they the ones with the sort of bigger house, more space, they don't really have to learn to negotiate so well, right? But the ones who are sharing that space together, boy, do they really need to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know why I was sharing that. You said something that reminded me of that.
And finally, situational. These other factors that can influence personality. So as the child grows, they face different situations which help them adapt and change aspects of their personality.
Sure.
Meeting new friends, experiencing some sort of trauma, welcoming a new sibling.
Well, I would say like any grief, any traumatic episode, divorce, all of that.
Right.
Moving. All that can kind of fall under grief. I'm reading this article because I searched about comedians and being the youngest, and I didn't find anything because I got distracted by this article about, it's in Time magazine, how your birth order affects your odds of success. And it says, where was I? Beep, boop, boop. Studies of CEOs have shown that those who are firstborns tend to run their companies conservatively, improving things by, say, streamlining product lines, simplifying distribution routes, and generally making sure the trains run on time. Lastborns are more likely to blow up the tracks and buy new trains, reinvent a company entirely, rather than simply reforming or improving it. So that kind of like approach to things can be so deeply couched in sort of your childhood experiences in terms of birth order.
That's interesting. Finally, we're going to share another part of this article, this BetterHelp.com. There's lots of theory and research and articles out there on birth order, and lots of other quizzes you can take too. But we're going to share the BuzzFeed quiz as well as this BetterHelp.com article. But they finally talk about other factors influencing birth order personality. I'm just going to go through those real quick. They talk about blended or step families, which is interesting. You know, when two parents remarry, especially when children are in their informative years, the family unit goes through a period of disorientation and competition. For example, two firstborns kind of vying for their place in the family, which is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Differences in ages, what you just talked about. So you were a little ahead of the game here. It is common for the birth order to restart if there are 3 or more years in between siblings. But that was not true with your family. You're 5 years older than your sister, but that seemed to be still pretty typical firstborn, lastborn, right?
Yeah, I don't, and I think we talked about this with my sister, but I don't feel like she is sort of the typical youngest.
Yeah, some things. Some of those things.
Maybe
like
some.
The creative piece. She's super creative.
That's true.
Health and mental issues. So for a child born with significant physical or neurodevelopmental disabilities can remain in the youngest position, regardless of the birth order. That makes sense. This impacts the psychological birth order position of the other children, right? So you like maybe a second-born after their firstborn who has some medical issues may not typically be the middle child.
Right. Always sort of takes on that role of like the baby, the youngest child.
Ooh, here we go. The next one. Gender of siblings. So most psychological competition occurs between children of the same gender, similar in ages, which is interesting.
Yep, that makes sense. So like boys are going to be more sort of competitious.
You just made up a word.
I don't even know what I was combining. Usually it's 2 words that I combine. Competitive and I don't know.
That's funny.
They tend to be more competitive with their brother, right, than their sister. And girls stink and are just competitive with each other all the time.
Right. This is
even as adults.
This next one sort of is a spillover to one of our other very common topics we talk about in this show, death of a sibling.
Oh.
So the impacts of a child's death are devastating for families. This includes the personalities of surviving siblings. So some children may adapt by developing overindulgent tendencies. Also, a glorification of the deceased child can occur where other siblings could never live up to the pristine image of the deceased sibling. I feel like that's a whole other episode. That's a whole other episode. Sure. That's a very interesting, though. And finally, was this the last piece? Hold on. Finally, adoption. So the adopted child often has special circumstances in the family dynamic. For parents with difficulties conceiving or having an adopted child may seem seen as a special gift. And then these parents have a greater tendency to spoil or overindulge that child. If an adopted child comes into an established family, he or she may find difficulties fitting into the dynamic. So all kinds of emotional struggles there in that type of situation. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
I also think in terms of like the miracle baby too, right? Like if it's a family that did not think they were going to have another child and then or wanted to but couldn't, and then suddenly they were able to have a child, whether it's an adoption or like IVF or a pregnancy without any intervention,
right?
Like that child can sort of be looked at as the miracle baby, and that can impact things too. So there's a whole lot that can impact things. And Deborah on our comments said she tends to give more weight to nurture. I think there's a whole lot more space for nurture to have an impact, right? There's a whole lot more. You're kind of born with your genetics. You're born with your chromosomes, your DNA. That's it.
Right.
And then you've got nurture impacts all day, every day from a whole lot of. This is great. I should really be a podcast host. I can't talk. Got no words.
That's great.
From all different directions.
Yeah, this is a great topic. I think we just scratched the surface on this a little bit. I think on maybe future episodes we can dive a little deeper into certain subtopics like the death of a sibling and how that impacts personality development, formative years, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
Good one, Cole. Good topic. Good episode.
So let me find what this Time article said at the end, because they said it more eloquently than what I was trying to say. It says, so your birth order may be immutable, so you can't change it, but the talents and traits it leaves you with don't have to be. You can, like, this is a tool to help you understand your personality, understand how you're moving through life, through the world, interacting with other people. The key is recognizing those talents and traits and working to build, in this case, a career that they will best and most successfully serve. I would say build sort of a life that is a good fit, right? So these are sort of the traits you know about yourself. What are the ones that you sort of want to lean into and say, this is me? How can I sort of make sure that my life is set up to sort of, build upon these traits? And then are there ones that you maybe want to work on? Like perfectionist, being insecure, being arrogant. Like, are those things that you can say, okay, I understand maybe where this was sort of fostered and why it sort of became a pathway in my brain, but I'm going to work to change that.
Right.
Because that's so much of what this is. It's also sort of tied to brain development. And when we're talking about brain development, so much gets sort of laid down in terms of pathways when we're kids.
Right.
And then, it sort of keeps developing until your early 20s, which is why I always say to my kids, like, when they're like, why can't I do something? I'm like, because your brain, your brain is not fully developed yet. Like my brain is more developed than yours. I have a prefrontal cortex that's more developed. I can make decisions better than you for many, many years. Yeah.
Why is my mom a psychotherapist?
A friend shared a meme and I was like, I say that to my kids all the time. But you can sort of rewire your brain. So your brain essentially is a bunch of like paths in the woods, right? So if you're going on a hike in the woods and you've got like all these paths before you, you're probably going to pick the one that's like worn down, easy to see, easy to get through. You're not going to have to like jump or bring a machete and cut, new pathways for yourself. It's kind of like easy. That's what our brain does. And so we're just sort of pre-wired, or we're wired because of our childhood experiences to sort of feel insecure or to be arrogant or to respond in a certain way. You can change that. You can sort of lay down new pathways. It just takes work and effort, because it's always going to be easier to go down those pathways that were sort of built and shaped in your childhood. Does that make sense?
100%.
So this is just sort of a piece in that.
Yeah.
Yes. Deborah says knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
I had a child client who that was their name.
Knowledge
is power.
Really?
First name, full stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a name.
That's creative.
I don't know what happened to that person. It was a different state, like
in the family.
30 years ago. That would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. You have anything else for us today?
I don't. Look at that. We kept it to like under an hour.
But I have something.
But wait, there's more.
I have something special for after we stop recording and just for the live. So hang out if you're here with us.
So this is the benefit of being on a live feed.
Being on the live show. We have a little bit of extra content, maybe a few more minutes. Stay with us on the live stream if you're live. And if you didn't listen to this live, maybe be on the lookout for the next live show so you can get some extra content.
And for the people that are playing this on Monday. Monday's the 16th, 15th?
16th.
So the sale is through the 18th on our website.
Nice.
So 15% off through the 18th. And then we have a couple interviews coming up. We have one that we're recording next week, this week. I don't know what, I think it's this week. So that might be our next episode after this. So it's with my friend from Love and Life with Littles.
Nice.
And she's going to be talking about managing holiday stress, like how to move through the holiday season without it being super stressful. And then my friend Liz, who just published a really great book, we are going to try to get her on relatively soon so she can talk about her book.
Nice.
She's got a lot of experience with grief and loss, and has a wonderful voice in terms of her writing. Maybe she sings, I don't know. But we're going to have her on soon too. So we have some interviews coming up.
Very awesome. Love it. Thanks, Jenny.
You're welcome.
All right, well, everybody, that is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening. For today's show notes links, you can check out the BetterHelp.com article, Birth Order Theory, Insights into Your Personality, and in that BuzzFeed quiz, Guessing Your Birth Order. Please follow us on Facebook, everybody, at Changing Perspectives Podcast, and on Instagram at Changing Perspectives Blog. You can send us an email to info@changingperspectivesonline.com. You can also visit our website by going to changingperspectivesonline.com. And while you're there, don't forget to visit the shop to check out all that Changing Perspectives merchandise sale going on right now. Go check it out. All right, everyone, go ahead and subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode, and we will see you next time. Say bye, Jenny.
Bye, Jenny.
The Changing Perspectives podcast is produced, recorded, and edited by Dizzy Bird Studios. Copyright 2020. Please visit Dizzy Bird Studios on Facebook, facebook.com/Dizzy Bird Studios.